I'm 31 years old, and this is the biggest game West Ham have played in my lifetime. I'm excited. I'm nervous. I'm scared. I'm excited. I'm nervous again. That's Ryan, the West Ham fan from Worthing. And certainly there'll be a lot of West Ham fans that are feeling like that tonight as they go to the London Stadium for what is the biggest game of many of their lifetimes. It's a huge, huge match. What would it mean for West Ham to end up in the quarterfinals of a European competition?
Well, as a Crystal Palace fan, I'd have to feign some interest in what it would mean to West Ham. But in all honesty, I think there's an opportunity awaiting them. I think, I had tickets to go to the game in Seville last week because I asked Karen to get me some tickets, but I had to fly back from Spain, so I couldn't go. So I'd like to have seen how they played, but I think they played quite well last week. A few of my West Ham supporting mates went to the game in Sevilla and watched them. They've got an opportunity. Sevilla are very experienced European operators, but they're only taking a 1-0 lead. West Ham began to make, as much as the West Ham fans might take a deep breath in about this observation, they're beginning to make the Taxpayer Stadium a fortress and a place where people find it difficult to play. And it will never be the Berlin, Upton Park, or whatever you want to call it, because it doesn't have the configuration and layout.
You're not supposed to call it the Taxpayer Stadium.
Well, I don't care, because that's what it is. But the bottom line is that it's an opportunity, and I think West Ham have as much chance to win this game as Seville have of preserving their 1-0 lead. I think West Ham,
even without Jared Bowen and possibly without Antonio tonight, 50-50 last time.
Adversity, and there's a decent squad there. I recognise the loss of two key components of what's been integral to the success of West Ham this season. But this is a moment where other players can come in. They've got some very good players on the sidelines that can come in and change the direction of the game. And I think we might see a very, very uplifting evening for West Ham this evening.
Going to be tight, I think, whatever happens, because if you look at the goal record of Sevilla in La Liga this season, I think away from home they've scored 12 goals in 15.
West Ham have got to score early. Matches. If they score early, they open the game out, don't they?
You think it'll be tight? I think it'll be really tight.
Well, I think it'll be tight, and it'll be even tighter the longer the game goes on, because these Spanish sides, like Sevilla and like Atletico Madrid, know how to shut up shop and make it difficult for opposition to cry.
6 times in the last 15 years.
Sure. Sevilla. So it's about time they lost then, isn't it? So here we are. West Ham have an opportunity. They're not in a difficult situation in terms of what would they rather had. They'd rather have an away win or a draw, but they've got the lesser of evils that could have been. They've got
the best bad result, haven't they?
That's exactly it. That's exactly what I meant. They've got a 1-0 game to go against, so they start. Most football teams that have a mentality about winning games say to themselves, let's start as if we're 1-0 down. So here we go. West Ham are 1-0 down in a situation, and I think the crowd will play a big part in it. I think David Moyes' savvy will play a big part in it. And I think there's going to be a good result for West Ham this evening.
Bookies don't favour them.
And, and conventional wisdom says always follow the bookies. But notwithstanding it, West Ham have a very good chance in this game. It all depends how they start. If they can get a goal and open the game up and make Seville have a different game plan than making West Ham chase shadows or really chase the game. It's about how West Ham get into this game. They can get in the game early and get the ideal start, which is a goal in the first 20 minutes. Then it's really game on.
How much credit do you give Karen Brady, David Sullivan and David Gold for getting them into this position? This is the kind of thing that they promised when they moved them from Upton Park to the London Stadium. Big European nights on a big stage with a chance to get somewhere they've never really got for a generation.
Have to. I mean, I'm a staunch critical observer of David Sullivan and David Gold, primarily because of my own experiences with them. And so I'm never going to be, a part of an advocacy for them. But you have to say what's fair, and what's fair is that they made themselves an object of ridicule when they talked about achieving this. People feel they were sold a pup by the move from the beloved stadium to a stadium that wasn't theirs, and all the financial benefits of that didn't seem to manifest itself in the team when they were selling players and not replacing them with better players. They caught a cold with Pellegrini. They got Moyes. They turned away from him. They brought him back. Now, whether you can say they lucked out by getting him back and by a combination of a sequence of unintended consequences, the consequences have worked out well for them. They've engineered a position where they are where they said they would be, which is competing at the top end of the Premier League, competing on a decent footing. But a lot of that has been the stumbling back across David Moyes, because they had him in their camp. And let's be clear, West Ham fans didn't want him. A large portion of West Ham fans weren't having him the first time round. So they were as myopic about David Moyes as maybe David Sullivan and David Gold were. And back he's come with Stuart Pearce, with Alan Irvine and whoever else that built a really decent...
Kevin Nolan,
which surprises me, with due respect, but that maybe just because I don't know Kevin Nolan well enough to have a balanced opinion of him.
They've got a lot of big characters behind the scenes there, haven't they?
But they've
got
a manager is well into the red loan of redemption from the point of view of he's throttling up now. You've got a guy that understands now that his currency is back. He lost his way.
How did he do that? He went to social.
It was unfair what happened to him because he never lost his way.
Sunderland didn't work.
He never lost his way of being a good manager. He lost the ability to be discerning in his choices about where to manage. Right? After the Manchester United debacle, which was grotesquely unfair, but most people know that everybody that was smarts about the Man United opportunity, like Mourinho, thought, well, I'm not having this until the Ferguson legacy dies down a bit. Anyone that comes after Ferguson is going to be taking a poison chalice, and David Moyes went in there and suffered for it. And then after that, he was picking up his reputation off the floor, shattered. So he made decisions to go and manage Sociedad and manage decisions to make Sunderland that were just probably flawed. He's landed at West Ham at what looked like last chance saloon, didn't get looked after, went out the door. I saw David at that time. I went to watch United play West Ham, United at West Ham at the end of that season when David and Stuart Pearce went in their first time round. And you could see David's shoulders back and chest out mentality was there again, but he was let go. Pellegrini comes in, gives the owners a heart attack on what he buys and how he spends their money, and then gives them very little in return, which is their own fault. Maybe they shouldn't be reading Rothman's Guide of Footballers. And then you get into the territory of Moyes coming back, and now you've got a new ownership model clearly going to unfold there. You've got a Czech billionaire that's most likely going to buy it off David in 2023 when the tax efficiency of selling it becomes more prevalent. And then you've got a situation where you've got a very wealthy owner in there. You've got a very established set of thinking behind West Ham, a belief in the way forward of this football club. So West Ham fans, as much as they might not like it and they can sing to the rooftop about GSB out, they have to give a little bit of credit to the ownership model that's afforded this opportunity.
Jim White and Simon Jordan, Monday to Thursday morning 10 till 1 on AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.